Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we saw another long liquidation move down into the 40.5 to 42.5 support, where responsive buyers were active on first test, and so far, buyers have been defending that zone. And heading into the open, how the market responds to the initial support zone and the pre-market resistance zone at 46 to 48 is really going to help set the tone for the day. So the question right now is whether this is going to be a sustained breakdown below the recent 3-day balance, and that's why 46 to 48 is important. We're going to be watching to see whether the market can hold below 46 to 48, and if it fails to do so, then that means it's going right back into the previous 3-day balance, and it would be signaling a failed breakdown attempt. And from there, we can go up to 50.75 to 52.75, perhaps higher into the gap fill and the 58.75 to 60.75 zone. And finally, if there is sufficient momentum, the 63 to 64. That's something we'll have to gauge in real time because in order to put in a reversal off of the 40.5 to 42.5 zone, we are going to have to see some decent upside momentum. And without that, it's going to be difficult to get beyond 46 to 48. So that's really going to be an important resistance zone off the open here. On the downside, in the event that the market breaks below 40.5 to 42.5, it would be a confirmation that the sellers are in firm control. And from there, we can go down and test 32.5 to 35.5, 29 quarter, 30 quarter, and potentially 25 to 27. But we have to understand that the market will be testing larger time frame support as ES goes near 32.50. That's a pretty decent area of support. So the 32.5 to 35.5 zone is a slightly wider than normal zone for us. Typically the zones are a max of 2 points wide. This one is a 3-point zone. So where you initiate the trade within the zone is really going to depend on the level of weakness and momentum heading into it and the risk reward on the trade. So if on the upside you're targeting simply a bounce back to, for example, the 40.5 to 42.5 area, and the market's really coming down on big volume and momentum, then it might be better to wait for the edge of the zone or the middle of the zone if you're looking to fade it. And in the event that we go through that, the zones below can still attract responsive buyers. So 29 quarter, 30 quarter, the 25 to 27, those are still spots where buy side can be active, and we can get a move back into the 40.5 to 42.5, and possibly from there 46 to 48 and beyond. So right now, heading into the open, keep an eye on the overnight VPOCs in the other market. We've seen long liquidation pretty much across the board. So, how the other markets react at their respective overnight VPOCs is going to be a pretty good tell. Very similar to yesterday in that case. And, if the markets break down, then we can get continuation lower. This is a market where the sellers are in pretty firm control, so we may have to hit then some pretty decent support in order to get a bounce. 32.5 area, 29 quarter, 30 quarter is a good spot. 25, 27 would be a range extreme, as well as decent support. And same goes for the support zones below. Buyers can be active at pretty much any of those areas here on out. And if 40.5 to 42.5 holds, and we get back above 46, 48, then perhaps we're just going to balance, within the recent 3-day balance area, so above 46 to 48. So right now it's really a question of whether the larger time frame buyers are going to step in at the 40.5 to 42.5, or whether the zone's going to fail, confirm the sellers in firm control, and then we'll have to wait until the market hits some better larger time frame support before we can anticipate responsive buyers stepping in. So those are really the main ideas heading into the open. The overnight session, clearly a bearish session, but off the open things can still change. Heading into the open, sell side in firm control, but now the question is whether this support zone is going to act as a reversal point, or we're just going to slice through it eventually because we've already reacted there. It was a high odds zone to expect a reaction on first test, but we've already seen a bounce back up to 46.5 in the overnight session. So that high odds reaction has already taken place. So now the question is whether the zone can really hold here, or if we go through it, then perhaps we are going to go down test, the 3250 area, and possibly even lower, depending on how the day session develops here. So those are the main thoughts. Let's see how the market responds to initial support, pre-market resistance, and we'll take it from there.